Navigation hotspots are a way to move throughout your VR project through point-to-point navigation. All you have to do is gaze or click on a hotspot to move into another scene. Adding hotspots in your VR project is a great way to make your designs interactive. In order to create navigation hotspots, you need at least 2 scenes in your VR project, so you have somewhere to navigate to. If you're using one of our Yulio Jump plugins to render your project, Yulio will generate and place your navigation hotspots in your project automatically. This video will cover how to edit those hotspots as well as how to add them manually if you created your project outside of Jump. Before you add your hotspots, there are a couple key things you'll want to do. Start off by renaming your scenes if you haven't already. Labels allow you to further build the narrative for your experience. Next, you'll want to make sure you reorder your scenes into a flow that makes sense for you. Think about the path you want your viewer to take throughout your space and place your scenes in that order. Lastly, ensure your desired opening scene is at the top of the list. Now you are ready to link everything together and add your navigation hotspots to your project. You can do so by clicking the blue Hotspot Editor button. Now that we are in our hotspot editor, you will notice we are in the scene section where we add our navigation hotspots, but you do have tabs here to edit or add all of the other types of hotspots. One thing I want to point out before we get started, sometimes when starting out, users get confused because they say, well, I uploaded 4 scenes, why are there only 3 showing up in the scenes panel? Well, that is because we are standing in the first scene, and you cannot navigate to somewhere that you're already standing. So in this case, you can have up to 3 navigation hotspots in all 4 scenes. To create your navigation hotspot, select one of the thumbnails from the left-hand side and drag and drop it into your project. From here, you can click on the hotspot and drag it to place it exactly where you like. In this case, the scene that we're linking to is a seated camera height, so I'm going to place this hotspot right on top of the chair. The seated perspective is rendered directly out of CAD by adjusting your camera height pre-render. Once I place my hotspot, I have a couple of customization options under the Properties panel. Here I can rename or hide my label altogether. I prefer shorter labels because I find they look better when viewing in virtual reality. Next, you can adjust the depth of your hotspot. This is not just making that icon larger or smaller, it's actually moving it further away from you or closer to you in VR. You want to make sure that you're setting your depth relevant to all of your other hotspots in your scene. So this hotspot placed on the chair should appear closer than the other 2 hotspots because those ones are further into the space. So I'm going to set this depth towards the near side and adjust the depth accordingly for my other 2 hotspots. Next up, you have the ability to change the color of the hotspot icon to either black or white, depending on if you have a very dark or very bright scene. And there we go, I've added my first hotspot. Now we're going to do the same thing again for my other 2 scenes. Click, drag, and drop to place the hotspot in the scene. This one here is a standing perspective, so I'm going to place this hotspot right at eye level. I have seen some users who prefer to place all of their hotspots on the floor so it doesn't distract from the space, so that could work too. Next, adjust your label, and then for my depth in this case, I am placing it right in the middle here, since it is further away than the seated position, but closer to me than the scene at the back of the space. You can really start to see how you'll get the hang of adding your own hotspots pretty quickly once you do get into the hotspot editor and play around with it yourself a couple of times. Once you have added your navigation hotspots to your first scene, make sure you go through the rest of your project and add navigation hotspots throughout your entire project. Remember, with navigation hotspots, you're creating the journey throughout your space for your clients. We recommend you spend some time pre-planning how you envision your clients moving throughout your space, and then place your hotspots accordingly. If you place only one navigation hotspot in your scene, you're ensuring your viewer will go there next. Or if you want to give your viewers the freedom to navigate the space, place multiple hotspots in each scene. You can switch scenes in the hotspot editor in a couple different ways. Use the left or right arrows in the bottom left-hand corner. You can use the jump to scene button on any hotspot, or you can select any scene from the scene list icon at the top right. All changes in Yulio are saved automatically, so you can check out your work by simply clicking the preview icon and share it with clients immediately. Keep in mind, there's no right and wrong way to do it when it comes to adding your own navigation hotspots. These are some of our best practices, but don't be afraid to play around with it and get creative. Adding navigation hotspots to your VR project is a great way to make your designs interactive and allows your viewers to explore your space.